Hello, this is Ryan from Oceans, and in this video we're going to walk you through on how to upgrade the firmware on an Inmarsat IsatPhone Pro. A couple of notes here. Currently, Inmarsat does not support Macintosh or Windows 7. So if you're going to be updating the firmware on this phone, you will need to either get a hold of a Windows Vista or Windows XP computer, or if you're running a Mac, another option would be to run something like Boot Camp or Parallels or VMware or some sort of virtual machine program that will allow you to run Vista or XP. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. To start out with, what you'll want to do is go to Inmarsat's webpage that they set up for the IsatPhone. And that can be found at www.isatphonelive.com. So here we have their webpage that they set up for the IsatPhone. What you'll want to do is go to Support, and there's 3 items on this page that you need to download. The first one being the firmware upgrade tool, the current firmware, which is currently version 4.1.1, and also the USB drivers. Now, an alternative to the USB drivers, if you've been using this phone with Ocean's products, would be the wireless.drv folder that is installed when you run through the phone and modem setup. If you don't have an Ocean's software, or if you want to get the drivers from us, you can certainly go to support.oceans.com, and here on the left you'll see a satellite phone and modem installer. If you download and run through this will also copy the IsatPhone Pro drivers to your computer in a folder on your C drive called wireless.drv. So I have gone ahead and already downloaded the 3 items for us, and the first thing we're going to do is run through the install for the drivers. So we'll open this up. And because it's a zip file, we need to pull the folder out here. And now that it's out, let's run through the setup. Okay, so now that it says that the drivers are installed correctly, let's go ahead and connect our IsatPhone to the computer. Okay, so it says it found the hardware and it'll go through and install. I'm going to go ahead and let Windows Update do a search. Because we already have the driver installed, it should find the drivers that we installed for it. So install software automatically. Click Next. And then Finish. And it's going to find 4 other devices after this is done, and so we'll follow through the same process on these where, yes, let's go ahead and connect to Windows Update and install the software automatically for all these. Okay, so now that we have all the drivers installed, let's verify that they all installed correctly. The way you do that is by right-clicking on My Computer and going to Manage. And then in the Computer Management console here, we'll go down to Device Manager and just verify that there isn't any devices showing up that say IsatPhone with exclamation points or showing up in an item called Other Devices. And it looks like we're okay. So the next step will be to actually check the firmware on the phone and verify what the firmware is and if we need to update it. So I'll walk you through on how to do that now.
Okay, so here we have our IsatPhone. The way you check the firmware on it is to make sure that the phone is on. And from here, you go into Menu, go down to Settings, and scroll down to About. And in here, you should see a line that says firmware version. It's right below the model, and as you can see on ours, it says firmware version 4.0.0. So obviously this one needs to be updated.
Okay, so now that we've installed the drivers for our phone and checked to see if we need to upgrade the firmware on it, let's go ahead and actually upgrade the firmware on the phone. And to do that, we need to go through the other two files that we downloaded. So let's start with the firmware upgrade tool. Let's unzip this and drag it to our desktop. And let's unzip the actual firmware file as well and copy it to our desktop. Okay, so now that we've got those both unzipped, let's run through the firmware upgrade tool. So this is actually an installer. Go ahead and click OK and Next, and accept the license terms. Okay, and once it says it's completed, let's click Next, and then go ahead and leave the check mark in the option that says Run the application, and click Finish, and it will go ahead and start the program. And at this window, it's going to ask you to select the firmware package. So you click on the little folder on the right-hand side, and let's browse to this other folder that we extracted out. And here's our firmware package. So once we've got that selected, go ahead and just click Next. And if you've got your phone connected to your computer still, it should see the phone. So it should say the IsatPhone is connected, and it should say ready to upgrade. So the next step is just to click Start Upgrade. It's going to install a new driver, so click Yes on the Windows Update, and then install the software automatically. And it looks like we timed out on this update here. Because we need to install the drivers again. So let's go ahead and go through all this. This is a driver that gets installed when it goes into the flash mode for the phone. So this is all okay. Just go ahead and go through it and install the drivers, and then click OK on this message. And this note that says the new hardware is ready to install is a good thing. So go ahead and run the upgrade tool again, and that's found in Start All Programs, IsatPhone Pro, IsatPhone Upgrade, Firmware Upgrade Tool, and then the Firmware Upgrade Tool. So let's browse to our DFU file again. Next, and Start Upgrade. Now on the phone itself, you'll see on the screen it'll say upgrading and firmware upgrade mode version 1.2.
So here's what the IsatPhone screen looks like while it's upgrading. We're almost done here now. It takes about 15 minutes for the process to run, and it should be just about done. And there it goes. So the phone's going to reboot, and when it reboots you can go back into that same options menu and go back to About, and you should see that the firmware has been upgraded to the new version. So you just click next on or click finish on the firmware upgrade screen.
So that's pretty much it for upgrading the firmware on the IsatPhone Pro. Now that we're done, we can go ahead and get rid of these files that we downloaded. You can also rerun this install for the firmware upgrade tool, and it'll give you the option to uninstall the program, which I will do so now. And then you can just go ahead and delete these files. So just to revisit the Mac piece of it again, running Vista or XP as a virtual machine and doing this, you might get through, but you might run into some issues too, depending on how the computer decides to utilize that USB port when the phone's plugged in. So really, I think your best option on doing it over Mac would be to run it off of Boot Camp. That way Windows is booting up entirely on its own and not running through the Macintosh software. That'll probably give you your best bet on doing the upgrade. But really, the best option whatsoever would be to get a hold of a Vista or XP machine and running the upgrade through that. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope it helped, and until next time.